Hey everybody. Hopefully, the last time I have to try and say this name for a while. So, number 36 in the Criterion collection is The Wages of Fear by Henri Georges Clouzot. My best shot. From France from 1953. This is widely considered his masterpiece. And I didn't do this intentionally. Last year, I watched a movie called Sorcerer, which it turns out is an American remake of this film. And I didn't know that until I started watching this film, and it was awful familiar. But enough changes that I still didn't know what was coming. This film is generally considered a masterpiece. I hate I hate coming at something like this that really demands that was really made for more critical review as a layperson. But I will say this, as an average movie viewer, this is what you can expect. This movie is 2.5 hours long, and the first hour is very slow. The first hour is setting up our characters and our the location that they find themselves in. The general premise is there is a small town in the middle of nowhere, Central America. The only thing of note there is an American oil company is running, but there's a small town there that doesn't to support the oil company that much because they take care of themselves. And this town is apparently very cheap to get to, but because it is such a small town, it is very expensive to get out of. So it essentially, this town has become a very low security prison, essentially. People trying to run away from their lives end up in this town and then find they can't leave. And so everybody just kind of sits around and drinks all day and then goes to sleep. Through this we kind of meet our four characters. This sequence should not take an hour for what we get out of it. The hour drags, all right? I am warning you. But essentially, we meet our four characters. Two of our main characters are named Mario and Luigi, which is fun. Eventually, a crisis happens with the oil company, and they need somebody to transport large amounts of nitroglycerin 100 miles down the road to where a well fire has happened. They're going to use an explosion of nitroglycerin to blow out the well fire. But they don't have the specialized equipment to transport it. All they've got are these big old trucks that they use for everything. So it's basically a suicide mission because, and I don't know how accurate this is to real life, but they make the whole demonstration of like a single drop of nitroglycerin, one bump, boom. And these people are carrying tons of nitroglycerin. So the premise in the movie, at least, and again, I can't speak to real life, if this truck hits a bump, it will go off like a bomb. So they ask for volunteers from the town, and they make it very clear this is a suicide mission. Like, the odds of anybody surviving are nil. They are sending 2 trucks with 2 drivers each, spaced apart, hoping one of them might get through unexploded. If they survive, each driver that survives gets $2,000. And I checked, and it's US dollars. It's essentially equivalent to $25,000 today. They are driving through jungle. They are driving through mountains. They are driving on terrible, terrible roads. So the last hour and a half of the film is that. It is the trek of these 2 trucks on the roads. And I got to tell you, man, the first hour, slow as hell. I can't help you. I honestly think it could have been tightened up to half an hour. The last hour and a half of this, you sit on the edge of your seat wondering if Mario and Luigi and the other 2 are going to get blown to the Mushroom Kingdom. It is intense. It is edge of your seat stuff. The sequences are great. The drama is great. You do pick up on a little of the rivalry. I'm not going to bother going into it because it's too much detail. If you're going to see the movie, you'll see it. But there is some rivalry that developed before the truck drive between essentially the 2 teams. And so there is tension when they have to interact or when they try to solve a problem together or if they get too close to each other. This movie is excellent. That first hour drags. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't. But it is well worth the trip to get to the hour and a half after that, which is just great cinema. Very dramatic, very well shot. The tension is constant, and I'm not going to spoil it, but the only way I can do it without spoiling it is just say they do a thing really well, and they do. No, I can't do it without spoiling it, but there's a moment in the film that is perfectly written and shot and great. I kind of dislike the ending, but hey, it's a French film. It has a solid, definite ending. I will give it that. I thank it for that. It is a definite ending. I'm not a fan of the ending, but it happens so fast, and it is definite, so I will take it. Overall, I would recommend the movie. I will say, the one thing I think Sorcerer did better than it. Sorcerer is also a good movie. It's a good adaptation of this. One thing Sorcerer does that this movie doesn't is it's also a longer movie. It spends the opening sequence letting us get to know the four main characters and how they came to this town, why they were running away from their lives, which is interesting. We don't get that in this original version. We get hints that they were in various forms of trouble and fled and ended up here. But we never learn details, and I think it would have given us such a better insight into who they are as characters instead of just watching them fart around town for an hour of film time. Yeah, I'm owning it. This is where I'm at. If you think this film is perfect, by all means, I'm glad. I'm glad you have something you love. I think the first hour of this movie is slow. I think the last hour and a half of this movie more than makes up for it. So, our next movie, we are returning to the United Kingdom, an English language film. The first movie in an unofficial trilogy of imagination by Terry Gilliam. It is Time Bandits from 1981. I will see you there.